So now we are on our second tool under data analysis toolpak, and we are now on covariance tool. So before we jump on the actual implementation, so let's first define now what is covariance. So covariance determines the degree to which the two variables are related or how they vary together. So the concept of, or the definition of covariance is somewhat related with the definition of correlation. So for the correlation, we look at the relationship. For your covariance, we are more on looking at the dependency between two numeric variables. So let's now go to the actual implementation on how we can use the covariance tool for our data. So for the covariance implementation, it's actually more a bit similar with how we implement the correlation, and also the outputs. The presentation of outputs is somewhat similar, right? So for the first step is data analysis. Go to data analysis, click covariance, and click OK. And then under the covariance window, we just need to select actually the same data that we just selected for the correlation. So for the input range, we selected CF, column CF, and group by columns, and we check labels in first row to indicate that we have column header for the first row, and for the output range we just selected H1. Select H1 and click OK, and once we click OK, it will show us this this table that is actually just similar with the presentation for the correlation, except the values for covariance is ranging from negative infinity to positive infinity. So the values can be really high and can be really low. So, and for comparing that for the values of correlation, the values of correlation is only ranging from -1 to 1. So it will not obviously grow as this number that has really large and lot of really large positive number and large negative number. Right, so now we know how to implement them, the steps to implement or applying covariance with our data. So now let's go to Excel to perform this same steps. So right now we are in Excel under the covariance tab in our exercise files, and we are again looking at this food and macronutrient data, and we are interested in looking at the covariance of these four variables with each other. So to do that, let's apply data analysis toolpak. So let's go to data analysis, let's scroll to covariance, click OK. So for the covariance, column C to F is already selected. Let's group by columns, labels in first row, output range is H1, click OK. Alright, so now we now have the actual result from our covariance analysis. And the way we can interpret this covariance is the higher positive number value, it gives the indicator that there's a high dependency between those two variables. So for example, we can ignore the diagonals because that is just measuring the covariance with itself. So we can actually look at the covariance with total fat and calorie. So as you can see, it's a really large positive number, and this actually reflected in the correlation matrix that we have, because if we look at the correlation of total fat and calorie, that is also high. And using covariance, we can also verify that we can say that calorie and total fat are highly dependent, and we can also say from correlation perspective that there's a strong relationship between them. Okay, so now we just generate these numbers, these covariance numbers, automatically using data analysis Toolpak. So is there other way to generate this? And the answer for that is yes. So just like what we have for correlation, we can also get this value using formulas. So to do that, I already have here some values, and I use the formula covariance, that P, and to get the covariance of calorie to protein, calories, and total fat and calorie to carbohydrate. So here I just use this formula, select the two columns that I'm interested in, and I will get the same value. So you can see here 254, 254, 2338, 2338, 2067, 2067. So again, just like the correlation, we can still get the same value using the formulas. But the real challenge is, what if we are not just interested in 4 variables, what if interested in 10 variables or 20 variables? So doing that will be very tedious, and more tedious the work, it is more error prone. So we want to avoid that, and that is the reason why we have data analysis Toolpak, to automate those kinds of work, to basically present to us this kind of data, so that we can now focus on the analysis part, not on the preparing the report itself. Okay, so that's it.